Hi, it's great to see you today. Thanks for joining me. I've got a really great topic for you, and it's about how to gain clarity in your life and your business. This is a topic that I often get asked. For starters, there's two things. First off, Albert Einstein once said that the hardest thing that humans have to do is think. And that's think in the direction of what it is that they want. So when we're trying to gain clarity, we're going to have to do some thinking. The other thing that I want to mention is how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so what that means is it may be challenging to focus on both of these in the moment. So pick one of them and say, okay, let me focus on my life and getting clarity in my life. And those same habits that you begin to form, you'll easily unconsciously bring them into your business. Okay, so sometimes it could be a little overwhelming to do both at the same time, but just, if you want, just start off with one, focus on one, you'll see the habits that'll start to change the way you look at things, and then all of a sudden you'll see how you can apply them to business. Now, the reason why most people are seeking clarity, like yourself, is because they've lost direction as to where it is that they're going. And that you may just be working, right, based on what people have told you, what you've been taught, and the knowledge that you have. And so gaining clarity usually means that you want more purpose and meaning in your life. And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be. I would suggest at this point, make sure you have a pen and a paper, and we're going to write down a couple of things. And the first thing that we're going to write down is, when we talk about thinking, we have this life that we are at right now. But if we don't want this life that we have, well then, how about if we write down what you do want? And so I would encourage you to make a want list to what is important for you. And don't be afraid to think, right? If you're thinking outside the box, which I would encourage you, because the more you think out in the box, the more life is going to begin to evolve. And a simple way of knowing whether you're thinking outside the box is when you have a thought that's bigger than what you would have traditionally thought, kind of like your butterflies begin to fly and you're like, whoa, it makes me a little nervous, right? That's okay. Just know that when those butterflies are beginning to happen is that you're stepping out of your comfort. And if you're stepping out of your comfort, that means you're causing life to expand. And that's really what you want. You can't control time. And so you should ever be wanting to have that expansion. The butterflies in your stomach and that little bit of nervousness is actually a good thing. So write down your want list. What I want from life, or what I would like life to look like. Maybe even what would you want life to be like, right? How many hours a day do you want to be enjoying a hobby? How many hours a day do you want to be enjoying exercise? Whatever you can imagine, right? This is the imagination. This is key. The second thing that we want to talk about is flushing out those ideas. And the reason why I mentioned to you to write it down is because as we're writing those things down that we want, for the most case, they're already going to be in our memory bank. If your mind, right, represented a filing cabinet, then, and it's hard for you to gain clarity at this point, it's because your filing cabinet is quite full. In fact, the drawers may even be open, the files piled high up on top, maybe even the files are on the floor, and so it's nearly impossible to put another file in there. But by writing down the thoughts that we're having, it's going to clear out that filing cabinet so we can create more, right? So I would encourage you, don't just think it. It doesn't work. It does not work. You have to write them down. Once you write them down, right, your want list, you're flushing them all out, and then you want to put them in some kind of format. So it'll allow you to take that information and put it into a statement. I am so happy and grateful now that my life, and then describe it. And that first part of that statement is huge. I am so happy and grateful now. And that's because we can't get to where we're going unless we can think it. Well, if we were to think it as if we already had it, I promise you things will begin to happen and evolve in a way that makes life living easy. And it's quite miraculous. So if you want to gain clarity in your life and your business, it's going to take a little bit of time and some reconditioning of your thoughts to really figure out where you're going. If you don't have that destination, then it's kind of hard to feel fulfilled. Once you have done your statement, I am so happy and grateful now that, I would put that on a little index card and I would write it down very clearly so that you can read it. And I would encourage you to read it a couple times a day. That statement, when you get to it, is going to be very inspiring and motivating. Now, we can't just stop there. Once you have that clarity, it's important that you act on it and start doing things in the direction of what it is that you want. And then life begins to take a whole new direction, and it's very inspiring. And lastly, I would encourage you to expose yourself to new people, new ideas, new places. Because when we do expose ourselves to those kind of things, it allows the mind to expand beyond anything that you would have thought. Now, I'll give you a simple example. The last 15 years or so, I live out in the country, and country people have a tendency not to go anywhere. They believe that life is all about what is right here. And their thinking can only be as large as the area that they grew up in, and that this is the way that life is supposed to be. That is, until they're exposed to something new. And so when they step out of that country life, they begin to see how life can evolve in a whole new direction that's more fulfilling, that's more enjoyable, that takes just life to a whole new level. Well, I hope this has helped you, because it's helped millions of people around the world. I'd love for you to comment what was the greatest thing that you learned from doing your list. Or maybe there's a topic that you'd like to hear more about, or even to have me dive a little deeper into this. I'd love to help you, and I hope you take the time it takes, because I promise it'll take less time.